Hello, theme park fans, and welcome to episode 90 of the E-Ticket Report. My name is Chris Wakefield, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Jalen Harvey.
Hey, y'all, what's good?
Ryan Barr.
Howdy.
And Tommy Hawkins.
Hey, guys. Oh, sorry, I was trying to do my Brady impression, but forgot it already. Hey, guys. He does this weird, chopped off thing when he talks.
All three of whom sound so very excited to be here with us today. It's been a long time since our last episode. A lot has happened, so let's kind of pick up where we left off. I believe Disney bought Marvel on our last episode. Is that what happened? It's been that long?
Jesus.
You know what I want to start with? We'll cover a lot here. I have a trip report. Ryan's got a trip report. But what I want to cover first is Jollywood Nights, the exclusive after-hours holiday-themed event at Disney's Hollywood Studios that seems to, Ryan, has it gotten better since the disastrous opening night?
It seems to. That's what people who have been since have said. I think, the opening night suffers from everyone trying to do the same exclusive things, and there's only a few things like the food, the shows that you can't do during regular hours.
That's the point of the event, though. The point of the event is to do the exclusive thing. Of course, everyone's going to try and do it. That's why they bought a $180 ticket, right?
Yeah, but not everyone's going to be ordering every single drink from the bar every night just to review it.
They had three drinks. They had three pre-mixed drinks. What do you mean? They're not ordering a full Monty. It's the three drinks. They weren't, what?
I'm kind of with you on this. Like, there are three pre-mixed drinks. They could crank those out. 3 bartenders. Yeah. No, it was a fiasco, but it just seems like there was too many people. I don't know.
Jay, if I gave you an unlimited budget, how would you do the Tip Top Club?
Damn, that's a very good question. Eddie Soto just talked about how apparently there's some doors inside of the queue the exit area for Tower of Terror that was supposed to be a restaurant. So they actually did plan a restaurant there. That's coming from Eddie Soto on Twitter. He tweeted about it not too long ago. I'd probably do something like that, but in a Space 220 sort of way. Like, it would be a permanent thing. It wouldn't be just...
That's really good.
It wouldn't just be whatever the hell was out there, since it's supposed to take place at the very tip top of the thing. It should be like a Space 220. You get inside of an elevator, it shoots you through like the 5th dimension, and you wind up at the Tip Top Club the night that everything went down. And maybe at, like, I don't know, the time that it happens, what was it, 8:15, 8:13, something like that.
I've not seen a movie in a very long time.
Like, it...
How much of
Either
this,
way, I would have like the lightning strike right there.
How much of this consternation comes from them? Could have been avoided by them just not calling it the Tip Top Club.
Oh, easily. They
set themselves up for failure, right? Been like they set themselves up.
Yeah, like it should have just been like a jazz patio club or some like jazz garden club or some shit like that. Plus, they put it in a very awkward position. Like I find it weird that they just put it in the most awkward position possible. Like, it's in the exit where everybody's leaving, and there's so much. It already gets bogged up during the day regularly. So why they would put here on purpose bewilders me. If anything, I would have put it more towards
like the back queue of Fantasmic. I listened to Christina's account.
It's it's at like the exit gate of Fantasmic.
The exit of.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah, it's right. The exit. No, not the exit gate of Fantasmic. It's the exit of Tower of Terror. Like, as soon as you come out the gift shop,
right? Which is, isn't that where you come out for Fantasmic?
Like right in that little courtyard.
That's a
area.
gate that leads to the Fantasmic show.
A little further back. This one's a little more close up. Like it's like soon as you come out of Tower of Terror, like the band is right there. They're flanking both sides of you.
And there was a live band that were singing. She was singing with, I believe, two musicians and a backup track. Correct?
They were they were
I
supposed
have
to be
no
ghosts.
idea.
Like I heard some bloggers mention that they were supposed to be ghosts. They were like painted white.
And keep in mind, so I do a lot of events, obviously, with my career. I attend a lot of events. I'm attending a New Year's Eve event that Eric and I love to go to every year, and it's about $100 a person, I think, and it features for the night a full live band. It's at a local bar here. They play jazz, they play contemporary hits, and I feel like if my little bar in the middle of Indianapolis, Indiana, can pull off a 5-piece band, then Disney, charging twice as much, should be able to pull off a 5-piece band. I don't think that's too much to ask, right?
The account that I heard, that the live music in general for the whole event was one of the things that actually saved it from being a complete shit show, though. So I'm not saying that particular one should be, but it almost sounds.
Yeah, they had more
It sounds
bands.
like it's being led by a location as to what, from my experience, it was. What was it? Outside? It wasn't inside, or something weird.
Yeah, it was raining that first night too.
Yeah, so
they had more bands.
Perhaps if they put it in like the what you call it? The Lightning McQueen Academy
one
building.
One of the 15 empty buildings they have there, Star Wars,
yeah,
Disney
they put
Play,
it in,
Disney
if
Junior.
they put it in one of them, then perhaps they could have been able to quite easily have a full band, but
Animation Courtyard, Little Mermaid, they had tons of options.
But I just don't understand
There's
why
a
they're
bunch of
acting like
places.
they're a startup, like this is their first year of putting on events, you know. Oh, we'll start small. We're sorry, guys, we're going to make a lot of mistakes because we've never done this before. Like, come on.
Okay, so
They did the villains event.
Here's the thing
about. Oh, go ahead.
is that Disney did this way the first night because this is what my mom would tell me when I was misbehaving or bad. She would say, you did it not because you didn't know what you were doing, but you thought you could get away with it. And that's why Disney did the event this way the first night. They thought they could do the bare minimum when it came to offerings, drinks, staffing. We haven't gotten into the fiasco at Brown Derby yet. They did it that way, not because they were flustered, oh my gosh, staffing. No, they thought they could get away with the bare minimum, and that's why they did it.
Here's the thing, though. What I don't understand is for these sort of nights, why do they it's a given, like they're not idiots. It's a given that all the people that cover the parks, all the influencers and all them dickheads that all want to queue up for the drinks, which we know are going to be shit, but all the influencers want to queue up for them. Why they don't do a preview for those people and have quite a big media list? And I know that the reasons why, because they want that small media list with people they can effectively completely control over everything they say. But all of these people still go and still write whatever the fuck they want about Disney anyway. And all they're going to do, and it's like the classic Florida kind of mentality of everyone wants to go because they all want to get to capture the event. And all they ever do is capture everyone else doing the same thing, which is film the queue of people all trying to get in on the same thing. And it's the way it seems to go. It went with that. What's that place, that food place that just opened in Orlando, and they all piled on for that as well. It's the same thing, and all it was a 4-hour line.
Well, and the reason that's done is for you want, we call it harvesting FOMO. You want to harvest that FOMO. You want everyone there at once, not just little people. You want a lot of people there at once, all posting online, all at once, all at the same time. And up until now, Disney was never held accountable, with the exception maybe of the Villains Party. Disney was never held accountable. People just would go, and even if it was a disaster, they would eat it up. And they would share it. Oh my gosh, I love it. And look at this. You got to book your ticket now. And Disney would see in real time on opening nights of parties, they can see tickets being sold from people sitting at home on Twitter going, oh my gosh, I got to be a part of this. I'm buying a ticket right now. And that was the plan for the opening night of Jollywood Nights. That's why they stacked it with media and other guests.
But the takeaway from it is, and this is not like, SeaWorld or Universal, one of their competitors have got something. It's that people are saying, don't bother going to this event, just go to the one at Magic Kingdom. It's not like people are saying, oh, I wouldn't bother with Disney. Like, their own event is being outdone by one of their other events. So what does that tell you about how bad it's been put together? And it seems like, to be honest with you,
it had the opposite. It had the opposite effect. People were unbooking their tickets.
Up and down this country at wintertime, something that's really freaking effective, and it can just turn like an otherwise probably mediocre Christmas market or whatever. It's just having one of them tunnels with all the fairy lights on, right? So why, like, it's Disney, yet they can't think, right? And one of the takeaways was, it's really dark and there's no lighting. If they just put a bunch, I'm not saying bring back the freaking Osborne lights, but just have some of these like Instagrammable friggin' like light fairy light tunnels or walls or whatever it is, just dotted around the park. It would have been for Disney relatively inexpensive, and people would have ate that shit up, because then they wouldn't be queuing, posting stories of the queue for the drinks. They'll be like, oh, check me out, looking all cute in front of this fairy light tunnel or whatever it may be. Like, it's that's the low hanging fruit, and they've not even gone for the low hanging fruit. That's not how they think.
They're something they can set up in 30 minutes, legit. 30 minutes to set the party up. Roll the mobile beer carts out. Get those pre-drinks already out.
But that's what I'm saying. All you got to do is have like these tunnels. Like, you just wheel them in at 5 minutes to 7 or whatever time it starts. Like, it's not difficult. Wheel them in, plug them in. That's it. It's not like
Jay. What were your thoughts, Jay, on the Muppet stage show? I'm using quotation marks on that.
Well, you guys should ask me that come Thursday, because I'm going to Jollywood Wednesday.
Oh, you are? So you haven't seen already what the show is?
Oh, I blanked out. I mean,
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. My little sister, she wanted to go for Christmas, and so this is one of her Christmas gifts. So I was like, yeah, I'll pull up. Plus, it's live Muppets, and I got I got a friend working the event, might help me out with some stuff. So
I
decided to check it out.
I didn't know. So one of the biggest draws on this night was the Gertie cookie, this green cookie shaped like Gertie the dinosaur. And
it's mint.
Is it mint? I hate mint. But apparently, so at Magic Kingdom, correct me if I'm wrong, the cookies are free. You just get cookies like it's Halloween, like the Halloween party. But at this event, the cookie, you got to pay for it in addition to your $180, right? And it's a little itty bitty cookie. It's not a huge cookie. It's a little cookie, right? You got to pay for it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you got to pay for the picture. That the picture you take brings the money back.
The Gertie cookie should have been free, in my personal opinion. It's a little tiny cookie. That should have come with the event.
Yeah, you know how long the line would have been to get it if it was
that
free?
Should be.
It would have been a half a 45-minute. I think it was already a 45-minute line to buy it.
And God forbid they set up more than one station to grab a cookie. That
well, you have to
hiring
Jesus
people.
Christ, 45 minutes.
You have to sell it at the location where you have to sell it at the Gertie ice cream place. It's Gertie shaped.
Like that makes sense, but at the same time, give it to people for free. Like
they did have Rise of the Resistance open, and you had to get a boarding group, which started at 8 p.m.
But didn't it go down for like a fifth?
But it went down, right?
Of the night.
Yeah, it went down the first night. Of course.
Of course it did. Of course.
Yeah, that would be terrible if you spent most of your time. Well, even a walk on for that ride is like a 25-minute experience at the minimum.
Everything that I've heard is that the rides consistently have been in walk on. So why they have it on there doesn't make any sense to me. It's just I have no idea why they burst out the virtual queue. Tron, I guess I could understand, but nobody's coming to see Rise of Resistance. Rise is 3 fucking years old. Like, and it breaks down constantly. Nobody's coming for that. If this is like a pass holder locals sort of thing for people to do, not like new people are coming to go do this. Nobody.
Well,
Like,
people say that.
the best way I could.
Well, if you buy the ticket for the party, there are no lines for the rides, and that's how you get your value's worth. But the price of the ticket is as much as a regular full day at the park. So the value, even in that proposition, is out the window.
Isn't it like $189 for the ticket?
I paid
it's a day pass.
150 something, 150 something for mine.
But is that with your
so
like
it's
an
a day
AP discount
pass
or a CAS
and some
discount?
change. You think they giving you a discount?
They are for APs.
Motherfucker, you don't get a discount or you. No, absolutely not. I did not get no discount.
So-
Maybe
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
think
hire
we
enough
get
tier
discounts.
on the.
So you're an annual pass holder that pays every month.
I'm the
or
second
every year,
highest tier.
and then you have to pay the price of a day ticket to essentially use the park in the way that you used to be able to use the park. Is that what you're saying?
For 4 hours.
For 4 hours or 5 hours or whatever it is, but that's only if you elect to not do all the stuff that I consider bullshit, like the cookies and the pre-mixed drinks and all that stuff. And to be honest, the only thing that I would be interested in is the Muppets thing because I've heard good things about it. But
Well, the show inside is it inside Vacation Fun? The Nightmare Before Christmas show. Sing along.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's in the
Yeah, the
Frozen
Nightmare
theater.
Before Christmas
I think
show.
It's in
It's in the Frozen one. That one looks. That's another. Those are the only two things that my sister and I are really like.
Well, they have
are
Jingle
they
Bell,
showing
Jingle
enough
Bam,
of them,
which
or
is-
it like there's one or two in the night or something like that? Isn't like the Muppets thing only twice or something? It's not like they're
I
running
think
every
it's
20 minutes.
Yeah. No, it's only gonna possibly only twice.
I don't
But they're
know.
doing Jingle Bell Jingle Bam, which is a older show, but I still like that. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Well,
Now that's some bullshit.
they've scaled down that show though.
That's
It's
some
more
bullshit.
projections and lasers and less actual fireworks. It's not as many fireworks as it used to.
Yeah, and they've
Cut.
definitely chopped it up.
So fast forward another month. No, that's too far. Fast forward another 3 weeks, right? So you're staying at the resort and you're choosing between the Epcot thingy procession or whatever it's called, or the Very Merry Berry, whatever that fuck that's called, or this. What you choosing? Because you ain't going to choose this, surely. Like, why would you choose this other than to get on rides easily or walk on rides? Like, what reason would there be for going for this over the other two that seem to offer more what people want?
I probably wouldn't, to be honest, unless they had added the free hot chocolate and cookies from, Merry Christmas Party. But
But this is what I don't understand, right? You go to Not So Scary and you get some decent show, you get a different fireworks show that you wouldn't ordinarily see, and you get a fuckload of free candy. So for me, that's the one where I'm like, okay, that's and also, yeah, I can also get on rides at Magic Kingdom that otherwise might be a bit of a nightmare. So for me, that actually seems somewhat worth the value of the ticket. Whereas all of these other ones, they don't offer the same equivalent. Like, there's not even the Christmas one. It's not like you go around Magic Kingdom for Very Merry and it's like free candy cane and free whatever, is it? You get one cookie, one token thing, and one hot chocolate. What else do you get?
I think they
What,
give
all
you free
night, like
cookies, right?
limitless cookies.
It's free cookies, but what I hate about that is it's not even. From what I've had last time when I was there, the cocoa watery as fuck. It just seems like it's from the packet. The cookies are some old, like, after school program host sort of like Boys and Girls Club ass cookies, like Brillo pad cookies you could use to clean a dish with. Like it's not good. Like, and I probably won't do Jollywood ever again. If it wasn't because of my sister asking me, I was already 50-50 on going, and the Muppet thing was the only thing that really interested me to go. Like, that's the only thing that got me really excited for it. But I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's worth the money, but none of Disney's parties seem worth the money.
Yeah, I like being in the parks after dark. I feel like it's harder to get during the summer, especially. It's hard to get in the parks after the sun goes down. So that would be the only thing. If I was there for a trip and Hollywood Studios is open late and it
but one of the criticisms
I would consider
is that the park is dark and dingy. So like it's not like I love going to Pandora at night because it's just got such an amazing atmosphere. You've got the floor paint and all the rest of it, and that's pretty fucking cool, right? But it sounds like the one like where you'd think they would use that it's dark, it's nighttime to their advantage. That's actually become a downside of the event because they haven't like thought of anything to do, like to.
Yeah, they definitely should add more decorations places, but I get your point. That park is dark. There's not a lot of it's just buildings and streets. You got Star Wars Land that can be illuminated a bit. There's cool environments, and then Grand Avenue is lit pretty well and nice. But
Toy Story does look with Toy Story's decorations at night.
Yeah, that's cute. I love it.
And Sunset Boulevard at night is always a good atmosphere.
Yeah, I was going to say, is there any Christmas decorations on Sunset Boulevard? Because that in itself, like
there always is.
Oh yeah, yeah, right, yeah. That's like the main one.
So you're not. It's not.
That's the main one. Yeah, it's nothing new. It's nothing different, and I also feel like how you were saying, if it was just to go see it at nighttime, even if they did this sort of event like at Animal Kingdom, I probably would pay for it just for the fact that I don't get to see Animal Kingdom
for sure
at night often.
Yeah.
And it's sad that it's gotten to the point where it's just like that bad. But also you have Diwali, the Festival of Lights, as a major holiday thing, which they kind of touch on a little bit around the Asia section. If they brought in more lights and made that brighter and made it more colorful and made all of Asia
we've said
really
this
colorful
before,
place to hang
I've
out
certainly
at.
said it before. Like, I guess kind of taking sort of this, for me, what would make you want to stay around in Animal Kingdom is if you had essentially what they've kind of done with this Jollywood Nights, where like live music and stuff dotted around in different locations. That would be one of like the things that would make you want to stay, like, and explore and go around if you had different things like that in different parts of the.
One of the problems with Animal Kingdom is, like, for a private event anyway, or an event like this.
Yeah.
Animal Kingdom at night, for a private event, there's too much ground to walk. They already invested years ago so much money to keep that park open later, and people just didn't stay. So they need to add more bars.
Sucked. And everybody got.
But I think they could do it for a private event. But like I said, too much walking in that park.
Well, that's the thing, is don't discount how much business they do already at Animal Kingdom and Pandora, specifically in after hours private events.
Oh yeah, 100%.
A lot that you don't know about. You don't talk about.
They had it open after dark recently for like a DVC thing or something, and it looks pretty bad. Specifically Pandora, it looked like half the lights were off. It just didn't look good. You couldn't see the mountains at all. Dumb.
Well, while we're talking about areas of the parks, can we talk about is it called World Celebration for Epcot that's going to open up soon, or World Nature or Neighborhood
Celebration?
So you're obviously very excited about it.
Coming into its sixth year of construction.
I mean, I'm excited to be able to walk from side to side.
It's shaped like Ola, right?
Oh yeah, that's true. We're so close to being able to walk from the land to Mission Space with no like interference.
For the first
This is
time
where
in
we're at
half
now.
a
We're
fucking
excited
decade.
that we can walk in a straight line again.
In a straight line, boys. We done made it. We made it. We finally made it. A
Yeah, they
straight
pretty much closed
fucking
that
line.
fountain not long after I
It's-
was there in 2018, right? I'm almost certain of it.
It's been that long.
Yes.
Oh my god.
It's been 5 years. It has been legit 5 years. And guess what? Communicore Hall isn't going to be ready when the thing opens. So the main building that's supposed to be opening up with the rest of the land isn't even
The
gonna
rest of it doesn't
open
even
with
look
it.
ready yet. It's 5 days away.
Oh my god. Oh
no.
my god. It's
Don't worry about it, because in the later half of the next 10 years, they're going to supercharge.
They're going to do that when they
Development,
win that court case.
In the back half. In the
It's
back
years away
half.
from being done.
maybe they might have some new shit to pull out. Maybe they will. Maybe they don't. Maybe they do. I have no fucking idea. We don't have any idea. They don't have any idea. But
Oh,
so
we're
maybe,
still thinking about it, guys.
maybe, nigga. Sorry.
So what is the story with that?
Damn.
What is the story of that?
Damn.
Did an old
Damn.
Wankstein, what's his name? I've forgotten his name. Daddy Josh,
Ugh.
didn't he wheel that out again? Oh, we're
Tomorrow.
still in blue sky. Right, like
A couple
recently,
of times.
the past couple of
We're
weeks.
going to supercharge, and now in the
No,
second
not
half,
what Iger said about the money. Didn't he say, oh yeah,
Yes.
like talking about the Moana and all that stuff. Oh well, yeah, it's just an idea. We've got lots of ideas. All that shit again, innit?
He talked to E. It's one thing to say this to a bunch of nerds at the convention, but when you go to like a major news, like a major channel, and be like, "Yeah, we're going to kind of do this thing," then yeah, no, you look like a slapped ass. Like we're considering everything. We might or may not do this.
I do love, and this
specific
is
thing.
no shade on. I just googled him. This is no shade on W Magic, because I love those guys. But that when the article starts with "New hope that Josh D'Amaro may reveal upcoming plans," this is where we're at the hope stage when we're writing about these kind of stories. It's like, oh, we hope that they can do what they used to do all the time.
Well, and then it was Disney's new CFO who came in and said, we're not doing anything until the later half of the next decade. It was him who came in and kind of pumped the brakes and said, whoa. The second half of the 2030s or 2020s, that's when we'll start.
Yeah, but realistically, that means another 12 months. Like, what we're talking about is 14 months' time. That's really... But we know that, right? We know even if they announce now, if they announce in the next 6 months, we know that means the latter half of the decade, because it takes them 5 years to build anything.
Right. Well, and that's the thing, is they've told us we will not start turbocharging, maybe, until the latter half of the next 10 years. So if we look at that, we're looking at, let's say, 2028. Okay, 5 years from now. It's a 5-year development cycle and build cycle. You're looking at 10 years. 2033 is the earliest we would see this payoff.
No, but for them, for me, what I read is, because we know them all too well, for what I read...
My daughter will be picking out colleges. Legit. She'll be looking
When
at
they say
colleges.
turbocharge, what they mean is we won't build one e-ticket per cycle, we'll build two, which still means that they're still way behind the curve.
And even that, Lynn and Jim did an analysis of this. When you take into account the rate of inflation, they're not really spending that much more money on CapEx. Remember, CapEx is also building roads. It's infrastructure. It's the boring stuff. It's behind the scenes kind of stuff. It's not all... People think they're going to build $10 billion
I did say that to you
when
you shot down whatever it was, the 15 billion or whatever over the next 10 years, and I said, well, actually, that equates to a little bit more, like 100 million more per year than what they were spending at the peak when they was actually building some stuff, a few things.
And keep in mind, Disney, so Bob Iger allegedly will leave in the next 3 years. A new CEO comes in, probably from outside. He can see this plan and go, no, no, no. You're not spending that much money on my watch. When I first get, I got bonuses to make. I got projections to make. We ain't spending $15 billion at Disney World. That ain't happening.
Well, by which time they've already lost 10% of the market share in Orlando, and Comcast are well into building the second park. Well, sorry, the fourth park, the second park at the South Campus. By that point, by 2033, you know that second park is going to be started. You know it.
I find it interesting if I want some MBA to a college kid to do a thesis on how Disney went from being a juggernaut, a powerhouse in entertainment, in movies, in construction, in hotels, how they went from that to what they are now, this timid, scared, afraid little mouse, no pun intended, of a company in 2023. In the span of 20 years, they went from being the worldwide leader in entertainment to, I don't know if we can do that. Later half of the next decade, we'll think about it. That's too much of a risk.
The same behaviours that they was doing in the final 10 years of what's his face in charge, Eisner in charge. It's the same patterns of behaviour. It's the same bullshit. They got a scare. They got a scare with Euro Disney. They shit the bed with that. They made a few errors there, and then in the long run, that bit them in the arse because they still, where were we, like 30 years later, they're still scared to invest any money in that place. So it's the same pattern of behaviour. It's like meet the new boss, the same as the old boss.
I just find it fascinating that they've given up so much ground to competition and again, we'll talk about this later with the cruising industry. I told you guys offline that I know people who are high ups in the cruising industry, and they are welcoming with open arms disenfranchised Disney fans who used to go to Disney World and don't anymore, and they build specific marketing campaigns, especially to Florida locals, targeted at disenfranchised Walt Disney World fans who just can't afford it, don't want to deal with the hassle and the lightning lanes and the reservations and get up at 7 a.m. Cruise lines, especially Royal Caribbean and Carnival, are
but that's
like,
the one thing that they
money.
don't seem to be that scared of doing.
Yeah.
Like, they announce another friggin' ship, another Disney Wish or whatever they're called, the Disney Wank.
Yes.
And then, and I know some of you said
it's the adventure
said
because
that oh no, they're not going to do that Asian one. Clearly, they are going to do that Asian one. Clearly, that's because then it's a no-brainer.
I don't know.
What have you? Well, they had to set up a whole shipyard, and that's a lot of 1,000 people losing their jobs if they don't do that. So let's see. And you need,
yeah, but they can build the ship and then sell it, which happens a lot in the cruise industry. And a lot in the real estate industry, which you build it and you sell it to someone else.
The ship is built, it's fitting it out.
So,
and there's a lot of jobs tied to that. Well, they can't.
Right,
they're not going to build it to their
That's what I mean.
spec and then sell their spec to someone else, are they? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know, Tommy. The Saudis are buying a lot of major properties and overspending for a lot of things on a lot of American legacy entertainment properties. They're spending a lot of money on. Just watch that space. Watch that space. Low risk. It's like the same reason they let Oriental Land Company pretty much buy and own Tokyo Disney Sea. All the risk. They take all the risk. Just saying. I could see the same kind of agreement with the Saudis. You take our ship, we'll license the name out to you, and we'll train you on it, but you take all the risk, and we'll take 10% of the profit. Watch that space. All right. Should we move on? Speaking of cruising, this is a good segue here. Should we move on to the film Wish?
I guess
film.
What is it? What's the shirt say?
The short?
There's a short?
No, No,
Yeah.
no, the new shirts they have for all the Wish merchandise says in big letters the Disney movie
Are we
Wish,
talking about the
the
Disney movie
film
or the
Wish,
ship?
so it's not confused with the ship. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, now they have to redo the whole
Yeah, no,
ship
haven't even watched it yet.
because of the movie.
Which sinks first?
Well,
the
it's
Wish
funny
or
because
the
they've
Wish?
seen some.
Because one of them is.
They've had some troubles with people Googling Disney Wish, and for a few months, the ship was coming up first and not the movie. So they've had some issues with this. Before we get to Wish, though, give me your thoughts on the Marvels real quick.
Haven't
the
seen it
film,
yet.
The Marvels. God damn it, Tommy! God,
I
you
just did
suck.
14 days in a row, and the one day that I thought I could see it, I realised that I couldn't because I was still working.
I think it's a great,
Ryan?
it's not technically not a solo Marvel movie because there's 3 supers in it, but it's a good one-off sequel technically. I think I still like, I
didn't
was
think
one
it
of
was
the few who
great?
liked Captain Marvel. I think I like the original better still, but this
Huh? So you hate women? That's what I'm hearing here. Is that you hate women?
Wow.
You don't
damn.
fully endorse this film, so you're one of those trolls out there who just hates women, right?
yeah, because they would say they like the Captain Marvel movie that came out, 2019? What was that year? Did that come out?
There's always that initial knee jerk. Like if you don't say you love this movie, you hate women, and you're the worst misogynist in the world. And people are like, I saw a lot of conversation online of, you're just hating on this film because it's women based, and it's you. That's the only reason you hate it because of the women. You don't do that for other films. And I thought, well, we all shit on Ant-Man, and that wasn't a female-based film. I think there are people out there, like I won't even say his name, who are just women haters, who are just the scum of the earth, who will hate on anything without even seeing the movie. They'll, it was a bad movie. But also, I think we need to make space for people who didn't like the movie to be able to talk about why they didn't like it. And it's okay if you didn't like it for whatever reason, besides the fact that it was a woman-led film. I liked the movie myself. I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was okay.
So if
it was
I say that
like
I
you said,
didn't-
Ryan. But we always get to this.
If I say I didn't really like Loki that much, who do I hate?
You hate
right,
British
okay.
people.
British people?
Well, that's not really.
I think it's deserving of.
Tommy, you seem to struggle. You struggled with Loki,
Yeah, because
right,
I'm
Tommy?
sitting there watching and I'm thinking, right, I'm someone that doesn't sit down on his phone doing something else, sits down to watch a show, and the show is 6 episodes long, and the previous season was 6 episodes long, and I'm just like, what the fuck are they talking about? But to me, all this fucking multiverse stuff, I'm just so sick of it. I'm so sick of it. I couldn't follow what the fuck was going on. I really couldn't. I don't really know why he did what he did at the end of the show. I don't know why. I just didn't get it. And I'm like, it's not like the old Netflix ones where there was 10-hour-long episodes per season, and you're expected to remember some 2-minute thing that happened in episode 1 of the previous season. I didn't have a clue what was going on, and it just makes me wonder, as someone.
So you don't get why he saved the multiverse from Kang and his variants.
I don't get it, and I should get it, and I don't, and that's the truth. And I'm not embarrassed to say that, because if I don't get it, what's the average person that watches all this stuff gonna think? As I'm someone that pays attention, and I'm just like, it gets so tied up in its own bullshit that sooner or later I don't know what's going on now. I genuinely don't. The time.
And that's very fair. I think that we mentioned this before, is that we're told Kang is the new Thanos. Kang is the new Thanos, and we see him get killed in season 1 of Loki. We see him get killed by ants in Ant-Man and the Wasp. We see him get spaghettified in Loki season 2. So this big bad guy has already been killed 3 different times in the last couple of years, and we never know which Kang we're looking at or what his motivation in this season, at least, what his motivations are. We never, we're told
And if we're
that.
honest,
So
it's very the point
confusing.
where for me, the MCU started to go, all right, what the fuck's going to go on here? And to be fair, it didn't matter in that whole general thing about the outcome of Endgame, because it ended up just being like a battle royale kind of bullshit, right? That's no shade on that. That's what it was. Pretty simple, dumbed down ending that everyone got, right? But when they said the time heist, and then when they started explaining, oh, well, time doesn't work this way, and this, that, and the other, and all that, for me, that was the point where I'm like, oh, this is where we're going, is it? Like this, the time jumping, multiverse, all this stuff. Like, you can barely, like, yeah, okay, Gamora is a fairly easy to understand example. The original Gamora died, and then this new Gamora has got no memories of him because she was from a different timeline. That's pretty straightforward. But then it's like layered upon layered upon layered upon layer, and all these different Kangs and all these different. And then he sat there at that table going, "Oh, we've had this conversation before," and I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know what this whole end of time.
Yeah, you just gotta let it take you. You can't be trying to connect all these dots. That Loki grabbed the cube. Anything that happens after that, it doesn't matter. He transported into another reality. Like, it doesn't have any links to what's happening in the MCU as far as we know, until we see a different part. Acknowledge the Loki side, and we haven't seen that. So,
but my biggest takeaway,
for all we know, it could be a dream.
My biggest takeaways from Loki season 1 was the crocodile Loki or whatever, or the frog 4. That's all I can remember from that. Honestly, as the final plot points, all I can really remember is those two. So what does that tell you about? Like, it's just, I just think it's gone up its own arse. I really do. And I'm not surprised people are turning off from it. Because if you sit down to watch a Marvel thing and you think, shit, like, I didn't do my homework, like, you feel like you're at school, like, you feel guilty because you've not revised for an exam and you've got to sit down. If a TV show or a TV movie starts feeling like you should have done the research before you watched it, then I can understand why people are like, no, I won't bother seeing that. I can't be bothered. It's too much.
I mean, for this whole phase, honestly, it really hasn't needed any prior knowledge. Look at Quantum Mania, Loki, they all work on their own.
Oh, I finally watched Quantum Mania. That was even worse. Jesus.
What did you have to know going into that?
No, all I knew was that I'd seen 2 decent Ant-Man films, and this third one was absolute shite.
Well, yeah. But I don't know.
But I think it's the multiverse in general. I think it's just like vegetables. You just put it in front of someone and they go, I'll eat it. Okay. I hope there's something after this. I hope there's cake after I eat these vegetables. And we haven't found the cake yet. Yeah. And now the other issue is that Jonathan Majors is in trouble legally and with his agency. So there are talks of, his agent's already dropped him. And there are talks now that he might be replaced, Ryan, by who?
Well,
the character?
I don't know about replaced, but maybe they'll just skip over everything at this point and move on to the next.
Surely if it's
the plans after Kang.
So the last 4 years of movies and TV shows.
I can't imagine they were replacing Kang. I can't imagine they'll recast him.
Why not? Surely in a multiverse thing, that's the easiest thing to do.
Why not?
I mean, they could, but
yeah,
I wouldn't be mad if they did.
It's I'm
just saying, I don't picture them doing it.
It's not like
I just see them skipping over and going straight to Secret Wars, if we're being honest. But we need another big movie to replace the Kang Dynasty. I think we'll get Young Avengers to replace
Yeah,
that.
but rushing into first of all, no one's gonna watch Young Avengers. I'm sorry. That looks like the most boring thing in the world. Ain't nobody watching that. I'm calling it now. Second, rushing into Doctor Doom would be like the worst, most wasteful use of that character.
They're not
wouldn't
going
it?
to. Well,
That's kinda
Fantastic
brutal
Four
a little
comes
bit.
out next year. Not next year, but 2025. And the Doctor Doom is not even going to be in that. Secret Wars is 2026, maybe. So, we have a good few years before Doctor Doom.
So is there a light at the end of the tunnel for this multiverse? Like, will they eventually just go back to some original timeline?
No.
Or are we still going to have this bullshit all the way forever and a
Well,
day?
yes. Secret Wars is a timeline reset. Everything is done at that point.
Yeah.
Secret Wars
All Secret Wars
is the end all. Like everything that's happened before Secret Wars is scripture, I guess.
But we don't. There's still
after that.
There's no proper
It's
villain
more
though.
of like
What? I don't understand what this is leading towards because there's no
There isn't
actual
really
real
one-
villain. You say, "Oh, it's Kang," but everything that he's been in, he's just
No.
been a bit of a douche. You're like,
the thing about Secret Wars is that objectively, if they're adapting it how I think that they're adapting it, there's no villain really in Secret Wars. For all Secret Wars is
That's
consolidation.
what sells movie tickets. That sells movie tickets, though.
But I think it's going to be an illusion of a big bad. But I don't think that there's
when
actually
you went
going
into
to
them
be
Avengers
something
movies, you knew
in
Thanos
Secret
was the
Wars
bad
where
guy,
it is a big
and
bad.
you knew that someone was going to die, and then that big shocker.
Well, we know that
everyone-
King is
not
going to be
everyone
the.
died, but
Well, we know.
It's
we
funny
know that the whole
because
point. We don't know yet, but the whole point of Battleworld is everyone is against each other, and one person comes out. And so there can only be one ending.
No. I'm telling you
No,
now,
that's not how-
with the modern movie audience, villains sell tickets. And here's the proof of that. Just today, I watched the new Aquaman trailer for Aquaman 2. What's the first line of that trailer? Has anyone seen it yet?
No, because fuck that.
The first
Jesus
line of
Christ.
that trailer, and this is the marketing mind here, the first line of that trailer is from the villain, and he says, "I'm going to kill Aquaman and his family." Right then and there, you know who this guy, what his intentions are, and what he wants to do, and what's at stake. From the first second of the trailer, I'm going to kill Aquaman and his family. I'm invested now. It's not the multiverse and this and that, and I'm helping fix time, and no, we're switching bodies. No, villains sell, ever since Thanos, villains sell movie tickets in the modern theater era. Sorry.
So
I think you can play him up as one, but I just don't think that's how
I
it's
just
going
think,
to.
and this
be.
is like,
But the problem
kinda
is
like
no
with
one knows
Loki.
what Kang's intentions are. What does Kang want? What is he? We knew what Thanos wanted to do. Wipe about half of life on the universe. What does Kang want? We don't know what he wants to do. What is at stake?
I
and
think
for so many
I think we
years
do.
with Marvel, so
We
much
know
was
what he
at stake.
wants.
We kind of do. It kind of laid it out pretty clearly. He who
Say his
remains
fucking
said.
name.
Okay, pause. Does Tommy, who's not into this all day, every day like everyone else who's chronically online, Tommy, what does Kang want? Just the average guy. What do you think Kang wants?
I've got no idea because it just
There's
seemed
only
like-
one Kang that we're
because he
speaking
sat
of,
there-
right? When
No,
the
because
rest-
he sat there
Precisely.
as the villain.
That's the issue, is that the average guy, the average ticket buyer does not know what's at stake.
Because
with Kang.
what
They
he
don't know
was,
what
the way it
wants. They
comes
don't know what's
across
at
is,
stake.
is
And that's the
that-
problem.
Because we
It's
haven't
already- it's
even
already
seen
been-
Kang
It's already
yet.
been decided because he sat there and went, "Oh, this is all pointless because it doesn't matter what you do." It was a bit like Thanos, where it was like, "Oh, it's inevitable," but it was a bit like, "It doesn't matter what you do because it's already been done." So when you're watching something where you don't feel like you can root, like there's a chance that there's any hope for the good guy to come on top, because the bad guy's going, well, none of this matters because it's already been sorted anyway. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, at least
We
with Avengers
we
and
haven't
Endgame
seen
and Infinity
Kang yet.
Wars,
There's
it was
only
kind of
one
that
Kang.
the carrot was dangled. What do you mean that we've only seen one Kang? Who was the guy at the desk?
See, this is the problem, Ryan. This is the problem. We've seen three of them.
No, we've seen an entire arena full of them. That's not Kang. There's only one.
But the average movie theater goer doesn't know that. He doesn't know that. He thinks he's seen
Who's
Kang
the guy at the
3 times
desk?
already.
Who's the guy at the desk that we saw at the desk then?
That's not Kang. That's He Who Remains.
Jesus Christ. I'm
The
not
average guy doesn't know that. Who was the guy in Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Listen,
or whatever
there's one main guy. The rest are all
again. I watched that film 2 weeks ago, less than 2 weeks ago, and I can't even remember big face MODOK. I can't even remember the other bad guy. I watched it 2 weeks ago.
Oh God, I forget about the MODOK thing.
It's over.
Jesus
it's a wrap.
Christ.
This is a wrap. This multiverse is done. People are too confused. You've got to be so deep into the comic books.
And this is the thing, like, no disrespect to you, Ryan or Jay, but
you really Spider-Man gets it right.
You, Ryan and Jay, you know all this stuff inside out.
Spider-Man gets it right,
and that's no disrespect to you. But I'm not completely stupid, but I'm more of the casual spectrum of Marvel fan, and I'm like, that the reason I've never got into the comics because it just seems to be so convoluted, and there's so many layers, and then when you've got like Earth 1 and Earth 2 and all that, in all the different types of like 316 and all that, and I'm like, it just loses interest when there's not just one thing that you can relate to, when it's like, oh, this will happen on this multiverse and this will happen on this. Like, it's a lot. Okay, right, that's my superhero therapy session over with.
The weird thing that I've noticed, especially about like what main Marvel is doing, is kind of, how can I put this in a way that's going to sound less crazy than it is coming out of my mouth? Spider-Man's doing it better. Sony's doing the multiverse side of it much better in a way that we all can understand. No Way Far From Home.
Because there's
I understand.
I guess because there's 3 established actors and universes that everyone can relate to.
Well, not even just that either. Not even just that. Into the Spider-Verse as well. Into the Spider-Verse goes nuts with it. It goes to something almost like how the end of Ant-Man, the end of Ant-Man 3, where we see all of the Kangs, like a Kang society, just like how we see the Spy Society, and there's all these different versions of Spider-Man.
In terms of storytelling, at any given moment, one that you're expected to focus on, every single character is different and identifiable, and you can relate to that. And like we've just had the conversation we've had, the person I thought was Kang, Ryan's telling me isn't. It's He Who Remains. And I'm like, but it's the same actor. It's the same guy. It doesn't look any different. Like, at least with the Loki variants, we knew that What's-Her-Face was a Loki variant, and the whatever it was, the crocodile was a like in that respect, that made sense. You're like, well, this is a different one from a different universe, and that made sense. But all of this stuff is just so like wrapped up in itself that it's just.
When did we see Thanos? How many Avengers movies were there before we saw Thanos?
At the end of the second one, I think. Like it took us a while to see Thanos. It took us a long time to see Thanos. We saw the Infinity Gauntlet before we saw Thanos.
So it's gonna be a while before we know what Kang was and who Kang is.
What, Ryan? To their credit, there was only one Thanos.
So to resolve that problem that you just had before, Ryan, you said we've not seen Kang, right? And there's 2 birds with 1 stone, right? So to make it more understandable for me, and to resolve the fact that you've got a criminal actor potentially, recast it. Kang can be someone, completely different actor, and then it will make sense to everyone. How's that? Why doesn't that work?
Well, it doesn't work because these are all Kang variants, right? We haven't seen the actual guy that cleans house.
If we were to accept there's a female Loki and a crocodile Loki, I think we can accept that there's a different actor playing the OG Kang. Surely,
it's fine. I don't care at this point. Whoever plays the character, I don't care. It doesn't change anything for me. But
And I love the analogy there with Spider-Man because my daughter is a huge Spider-Man fan, and I thought when the idea of the multiverse was introduced in the Spider-Man, and even did and Gwen Stacy being a Spider-Man and Sven, I thought my daughter was going to throw the remote at the TV, but she gets it, and she's 4, and she gets it. She knows that's Finn, and that's Miles, and that's Pete. Like she knows how they're all different, but
And also,
they're connected. And like, if you would have told me at 4 years old there was more than one Luke Skywalker, I would have like, no, the fuck there isn't. There's one Luke Skywalker. What are you talking about? But they've done this in a way that even kids can understand.
And even and don't get me wrong, I watched the TV shows, the Flash TV show, and it got to the point where you're like, what the fuck is going on in that as well? But the Flash movie made perfect sense, and bringing back an actor where there was clear defined different Batman and all the rest of it, that made perfect sense. And that was the same kind of vibe, like multiverse vibe, but again was very clear and made like perfect sense. And okay, right, that movie might not have done brilliantly, but it still made sense to the average viewer, right?
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's move on from one disaster to another and talk about, we kind of touched on it, Wish, the film Wish. Has anyone here seen it yet?
Nah.
Why
I was
not?
Supposed to, but I had to work on my car. That's my personal reason, and just never got around to it. I was supposed to see it last Wednesday, and I wasn't able to because I was working on my car. It was taking way too long, and didn't get to go with my nieces to go see it like I originally planned. So I was thinking of going to go see it tomorrow night for, $5 Tuesdays. But other than that, yeah, no, that's my only thing.
Is that the T-Mobile thing?
Not T-Mobile too. No. That's the AMC thing, and also Cinemark, like the $5 movies on Tuesdays.
We talked about this before on the show, and today I said on Twitter, I said that the problem is that so many Disney animated films look alike nowadays, and they do, and it seems to have caught on with a lot of people. I think this kind of suffers from that, but also it seems like the story is not that good and the music is not that good. But this was supposed to be Disney's next Frozen. I mean, they were banking on this being their next Frozen, and I can tell you now,
Really?
heads. Oh yes. I was told this has to be a hit. This is one of those this better work moments from Bob Iger. This film had to hit, and it had to hit hard, and it flopped hard so far. Maybe it's good, and it'll pick up next weekend, hopefully. But this was supposed to be their big. They were betting the farm on this.
Really? I wouldn't have guessed, given the fact that with Wish, so much of Wish, and maybe they were banking on Frozen was able to do its own thing and do its own thing well. I think what a lot of people are feeling with Wish is that it's bogged down by being the 100th anniversary movie, and so that means callbacks, which I'm cool with callbacks if you have a movie that is set up for a callback sort of thing. Like if this was a more meta movie or something like that, or like a big version of the Once Upon a Studio short, like if it was a feature-length film version.
It just doesn't have the cast, It has a good voice cast, but
I wouldn't have.
But it doesn't have a Super Mario cast.
I don't think that really
Chris
matters.
Pratt as King Magnifico.
Yeah, like I don't think that fucking matters.
I think it makes
nobody's
box
checking for
office
Chris Pratt
difference.
in the newest.
Nowadays,
Nick, nobody's coming to see you, Otis.
I don't.
Nobody is
think so.
coming to see you, Otis. Nobody is going to go see the Mario movie because Chris Pratt is playing him. Nobody's going to go see the Garfield movie because Chris Pratt.
I think
is playing
they
him.
are.
People only are going to go see it because of those characters. No, especially not the latter.
Bowers made a good point.
Nobody is
earlier.
coming
He
to
was
see
talking
you,
about
Otis.
What he thinks why it's not done that well, and I think one of the points he made was that a lot of animated movies are of a much higher standard now, so there's less of that feeling like the market's much more saturated, shall we say, and there's a lot more adults that now want to go and see animated movies than what there perhaps was back in the day. And now you're competing. And I just looked at the lineup, what your Thanksgiving releases. You had two other. Didn't you have Hunger Games and something else all come out the same weekend? Was it? What was the third film? Napoleon, which some people, it's not for me. Certainly not for me. But
God.
for some people, it will be. You've got.
You don't want to.
Well, of course not. You're a Brit. Of course, you're going to hate the Napoleon movie. That's in your blood.
Because I just think what's his face, Lee Phoenix is one of the most overrated actors out there.
You don't want to see. You don't want to see him give some white lady back shots on the big screen. You don't want to see that. you don't want to see it. You don't want where he lasts for like 3 seconds. From what I hear, like if I was Joaquin, I'm like, y'all better put me in the contract. I'm at least lasting for 2-3 minutes. Y'all not gonna do me like that, all right? I'm Joaquin. Y'all not gonna have me do that. Y'all not gonna do that to me.
He's got a war to fight. He don't have time for all that.
Oh my God.
Well, I think
it's France. She'll get it from somebody else.
One of the issues is that, like I said, that all these movies look alike. The Asha from Wish looks like the sister from Encanto, who looks like a brown version of Rapunzel, who looks like a different.
Does she?
Yeah, for a lot of people, they do. Yeah.
I think that's your white side talking, Chris, because I can tell the difference.
No. I'm telling you right now. Go look at my thread on Twitter. Lots of people are saying all these characters just look alike. You just change out the hair, change out the skin color, and it's the same character design, the same eyes, same
they
body
all look
movements.
like Rapunzel.
There's no originality whatsoever.
Yeah, but Chris, but the backgrounds.
Yeah, this is the thing, is that Disney touted that this is, we spent so much time on the background.
That's the reason why I don't want to go and see it.
And they're rich, and no one's taking their family of 5 to spend $80 at a movie theater to look at fucking backgrounds.
I would say with...
No, go ahead. No.
Go ahead, Ryan, my bad.
Be dumb.
I don't know. For me personally, I was already attached to Wish from the get-go. I like the idea of the movie. My only problem with Wish is that, from what I'm saying, is that they don't let it be its own movie. And even if the background, even if I think it looks fine, but if the plot of the movie is not engaging and it's relying too much on
the movie, I don't even know what the idea of the movie is. And I saw a trailer for it.
The idea of the movie is basically there's this kingdom where they can grant wishes, and the one Chris Pine bad guy chooses what wishes get to go and which wishes basically stay with him, and their wishes never get fulfilled. And the main conflict is with Asha, who's saying, well, you should give these wishes back to people so they can try to strive for them even if they don't have your help. That's basically the main contention of the plot, is letting people be able to strive for their dreams and not have one person be controlling the kingdom, what gets to be granted and who gets their dreams come true and who doesn't. That's all it is. It's goes back and forth. I don't know. I like the premise of, and it also introduces like the star. I get why they're doing the references, because they said that this is supposed to be the story of the star that all of the Disney characters eventually wish on, but I would want it to be more along the lines of like a standalone Marvel movie where I don't see any connections to anybody else until maybe the end. Like if I'm in the credits and I see silhouettes of Disney characters in the like at the end of that, I'm not mad at that. Or there's like a post-credit scene with several different characters wishing upon Star.
Is it just an Easter egg? Is it just a hint?
It's an Easter egg. It's like it's laden, like it's filled with Easter eggs, both visually and a few like vocal cues and sounds and things like that. Like for example, Asha's like main friend group are the Seven Dwarves, just different. Like they have their mannerisms and their like their core mood, and you can see that. And also they have like the same color palette as them. But they're not all men. They're not all short. They're fairly tall, and they all have different skin colors.
What are you talking about?
It's weird.
What is it?
It's like an Easter egg. It's just a thing where they have a character who is similar
Just
to the other
make a
character.
movie of the last 100 years of the animation studios of the characters running around the studio, being the character and doing goofy stuff around the studio for the last 100
That's
years.
what it should be.
With Roger Rabbit and
But
Mickey Mouse and Ariel. And this is not hard. This is not hard to think of.
Well, if you wanted that, you shouldn't have watched the...
Stuff all those characters that have been successful for the last 100 years into one movie, going around the studio, doing goofy stuff around the studio, whatever.
We already had that.
You know, you have a Walt Disney cameo, you have a Black
that.
Cauldron reference. This ain't hard.
We already did that. That was the Rescue Rangers
Can I
movie,
ask a
Chris. That was the
question?
Rescue Rangers movie. I'm sorry.
I mean, you can't. Why would they?
They did it.
I know why they did this, because they want to sell more merchandise. You have the wisecracking sidekick and the goat, and you have the star, the merchandise seller. I get it, but it's just so
And that
transparent.
said, the star
nowadays.
is cute as hell.
Well, yeah,
The star is cute as hell.
It's socially engineered to be as cute as possible, so you want to buy the merchandise. Of course, it's cute. That's the point.
They have it down to a science. They can make a cute character off the rip and know that people are going to
Yeah,
like
Oh, we
yeah.
didn't-
I mean, they are except for the gingerbread.
Yeah, we
man
didn't
at
talk
Hollywood
about
Studios,
Ollie.
That didn't work.
The twink
It's
gingerbread
Ollie.
man.
The twink gingerbread.
I don't know. I liked when everybody when that popped up and they were saying, "Oh, he was the first, the first
Original
the
character.
first the first original Disney." And Duffy showed up the next week, giving that cracker a run for his money. Like it was beautiful. I saw Duffy pulled up like big Duff don't.
They're just
bluff,
trying
baby.
to-
He came from overseas. He was like, I heard somebody talking shit. I had to pull up and let them know. Duffy pulled up and let his stuff.
Disney just saw
hang, son.
Universal make Earl the
That was
Squirrel, and they
beautiful.
wanted to capitalize on the gingerbread
That
man.
is exactly.
That's what it was. Yeah.
I know a few people. I know a few things, and that's exactly what they wanted to do. They wanted to create their own original Earl the Squirrel.
It's
So
like
the
when they
character-
wanted to
but
make
here's
their own butterbeer and had LeFou's brew.
And the thing about Ollie is I don't really have anything against the guy. It's just that they don't do anything
put
with
him
him besides
on the
that from what
sign, and
I've
that's
seen.
it.
And then just a giant neon sign. Like Earl the Squirrel has a walk around character, and it took him a while to get that. But like Earl the Squirrel has been popping up in the Christmas tree for a while, and they just took something that was already in the tree. And
the fact that Earl came from
anthropomorphized
a
it.
real life story. You know, it was
Yeah.
a real thing that really happened years ago.
And even if that, like Disney can make up a story on the fly if they want to.
Yeah,
Even
say
if
Ollie
they-
was
like,
part of
in
Osborne
games, they
Lights
make up
or something.
stories. like Duffy has the backstory, and he's loved overseas to the point where they treat him like a god. So like, you can make up. Disney is one of the strongest storytelling companies of all time. Why the hell won't you just give this guy a backstory, like a little golden book worth of information to tell me about what this guy is, besides just being like, this is the mascot for the event, and I only see him one fucking time in one fixed location. I don't even see no merch with the guy on it. I don't know anything about this twink gingerbread man.
Why have you decided
and
it's a
y'all
twink?
want me to give a damn about him? Look at that little tough. He looks like if fucking what's his name? What's that man's name? He looks like the new Willy Wonka was a gingerbread man. Like he just looks like, oh my god. Like he looks like if Neil Patrick Harris was a gingerbread man. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
So let me ask you
it's
this question,
contrived and
Chris,
stupid.
as you're
It's
the family
dumb.
man on this podcast. Why would you pay $40 or $50 to take your family to see Disney Wish, the movie? That's not the cruise ship. You might take your family to see that, but why would you do that when you know in 45 days for something you're already paying $14 a month for, it's going to show up on Disney Plus?
And that's precisely why we haven't done that yet, is because it's a value proposition of we can wait. There are other things that my daughter hasn't seen yet. Spider-Man just came out on Netflix last week. We've not seen the new Ninja Turtles movie yet. She'll love that too. So it's just a matter of there's other stuff we have to get to. And the thought of taking the 4.5-year-old, putting her in the car, going to the theater, buying her the biggest popcorn she wants and the thing of pop, and then sitting there for an hour and a half while she squirms around and talks and wants to get up and leave halfway through, Just not. It's got to be a really good movie. The last movie we did that for was Mario because she loves Mario, and that's when I sucked it up and said, "Yeah, we'll go do it for Mario." But some random Disney movie where all the characters look the same and there's not one recognizable song, nah, we can wait.
I think the last Disney movie I saw in theaters was Toy Story 4.
Jesus.
There's been
Christ.
they've been churning
Yo,
out nothing but garbage since.
the last one.
And before that, it had to be.
Hey, you gonna watch
it had to be-
I saw Onward, and I actually really
Hold on,
enjoyed
what's it
that,
again?
but that was right at the cusp of COVID,
Oh
wasn't it?
God, that one was.
It had to be break the internets before that.
Jesus Christ, no! I've seen just about each and every one that they've done, and I don't know. I still have to go see Wish, and who's to say I won't like Wish? I don't know until I actually go check it out, probably tomorrow after work. But I don't know. I have hope for it. I like to give the benefit of the doubt of these things before I watch it. Like, I didn't think that I would be hyped for a Five Nights at Freddy's movie, but I walked away from that being like, oh, that was okay.
And that's the thing.
So
It's
who
a
knows?
combination of issues because I keep seeing that, no one's going to movie theaters anymore. No one's going to movies anymore. People are going to the movies. People, Mario made $1 billion. Barbie made $1 billion. Ninja Turtles did well. Spider-Man did well. So it's not that no one's going, but you have to have a really, really solid reason to go out to that theater.
I would say that I think with Barbie and I just think some of those have bigger societal events attached to them. Like Barbenheimer was just a thing that as soon as we found out about those two being released the same day, people made a meme out of it on the internet and it just completely swept away in it. And the other two are recognizable franchises. I don't think that, at least in the animated space, anything that's been original, like the only original movie that I know of animation wise that dropped, that's not a part of a franchise or anything like that this year, was Nimona, and that's on Netflix.
Well, the other problem too is that
nobody's really
Disney can't even do creative marketing anymore, and they have an entire company for marketing. It's called Yellow Shoes Marketing that they do in-house marketing, and they've lost their creative fire, their creative streak. They don't even know how to market properly anymore. That's one of the biggest issues they have going forward in the next 5-10 years is that they are so risk averse in the creative department and the marketing department. They play it safe. They play it so safe, it's sinking the company from theme parks to movies to everything else, TV shows. Everything is being played so safe without risk. It's killing them. You look at how Barbie was marketed.
Yeah,
How was
they
Barbie
don't wanna-
marketed? They had a Barbie house in California. All these great out-of-the-box ideas that they had.
Yeah, they went crazy. I think the only thing that we got from this was like the spear.
And they put the
Like,
character
that
in the
was
theme
it.
park early, which is rare for them to do for a movie. They put Asha in the theme parks for the movie came out, and they had the Star merchandise. Which, by the way, I was at a local outlet store here in Indianapolis over the weekend shopping, and they already have Wish merchandise, the Star and characters already on the outlet shelves. No kidding.
Here's the thing, though, with all that, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, it didn't do well at cinema, but what if it becomes a sleeper hit on Disney Plus? What if the kids do start watching it?
It won't raise any
And then-
money. It's not. That's not how money is made, though. Nowadays,
It won't.
No,
Well,
I'm saying-
no,
Yes.
no.
You're saying
See,
is,
no, I
in
don't.
one breath you're saying, Chris,
I-
that, this film is just being made so that they can sell merch, like the characters are cute. But then you're saying, it's not going to make any money. So I'm suggesting that maybe that they could do decent merch sales, and you're like, it won't make any money. So which one is it?
right? But decent merch sales don't compare to box office draw. Those are two very different revenue streams,
But if
and
you want good
one
box office draw, why are
has
you
a much
releasing?
larger potential.
Why are you releasing a film that you know that some
Well,
of your
hold
a
on.
large
I
proportion
don't-
of your market are now adults, not just kids and families? Why are you releasing a film on the same day as two other like pretty big movies? Like, there's a reason people don't
I also
release
look
at the
at-
same time, or they never used to, because they knew that they didn't want to compete, and now they still are.
I would also look at the fact that for example, if it does hit Disney Plus or it does hit, like Encanto tanked in the box office. It didn't do good until its second run around, and that's only because of the fact that it hit Disney Plus and people, it went gangbusters, and also people torrented the hell out of it. But I think we need to look at what these kids are watching because we're adults and we're busy with our time, and so many kids, and Chris can probably know this. If you're around people who have other kids, other people who have kids, you can see the habits of them. And one major thing is the iPad kids, and they just treat that iPad as a pacifier. And those kids, I got nephews who nieces and nephews who watch Moana religiously.
Yes, I'm talking from
like every day.
The streaming model, though, was when we talk about streaming revenue. Here's a great example: 2020, Tiger King on Netflix. Guess how much Netflix says they made off of Tiger King? Nothing. Nothing.
Why?
Netflix said Tiger King was a net zero loss. It drove no new revenue. The streaming model is broken. I don't know. No one knows why, Tommy. This is so fucked up, so messed up. No one knows why. I said it yesterday on Twitter.
Because
Disney will come out and say that a certain movie had 18 trillion minutes of streamed on Disney Plus, and the next paragraph I say, but we lost $45 billion last quarter. No, the model's broken.
I would argue it's because that's their accounting, and what I mean by that is because they had Tiger King, which was a hit, which was a relatively low cost to make. And all the meantime, they spent 3 or 4 billion on a bunch of shit that they cancelled. Or maybe it wasn't shit. Maybe some of it would have developed if they'd let it. But after one season, they cancelled it. So then that's a write-off. So for them, they then their accounting says, "Oh, Tiger King didn't make us any money because in that period we was running at a $3 billion loss."
The streaming model is broken. No one knows what's going on. Netflix can still barely turn a profit half these quarters. It's broken. It's broken.
I'd even go so far to say, with Encanto in particular, with it being a runaway success overnight, like it just hit. They dropped it on Christmas when everybody would be at home with their families, and it was just a runaway success. That I don't think they made their money off of Encanto until it hit streaming with all of the merchandising.
Right, so
now we have a theme park.
Answer this right. What big Christmas
we do?
movie?
Where's that confirmed?
Possibly. I don't know, motherfucker.
What Christmas movie of Disney got coming out? What Disney release of Disney got coming out this Christmas? Because there ain't the Star Wars. Like, what's coming out?
What is it?
No.
So that begs the question, why did they release this when they did if they've got nothing for Christmas? Because they usually have something scheduled for Christmas.
There was probably some Marvel garbage that was supposed to come out around this time, besides the Marvels.
They did this because, like I said, this movie, they were banking on this movie being a $1 billion hit. They needed this to be a hit. They were banking on it. They were told it was going to be a hit. I don't know where it went wrong or what the testing looked like. Internally, I'm telling you, everyone was focused on Wish. Everyone was pointed and said, make this work. And it didn't.
So it begs the question, why didn't they release it at Christmas if they've got nothing else to release at Christmas? That's what I'm saying. Why release it the same weekend as 2 other films?
There's probably too much other stuff coming out.
I want to see them. Normally, I would want them to try to stagger it like the theater release. Kind of like how Elemental was. Elemental took a while to get off the ground. It took Elemental a while to get off of the ground. And they let it sit for 3-4 months in theaters before they even said that, hey, we're going to put this on Disney Plus. If they do the same thing, I don't think that's particularly wise. I would try to do the Encanto thing. Encanto did the same playbook. It came out in November, and the next month over, during Christmas, they dropped it. If I'm Disney, and they want this to be a success, maybe do the Encanto thing, drop it on Christmas, and let's
it's
see what
most
happens.
for sure. If
Drop
it doesn't
on Christmas
collect
Day on
like
Disney Plus, and
much
let's see
more
what
in the
happens.
box office, it's for sure coming in Christmas to streaming.
It's because Encanto was the same way. I just looked up Encanto's box office. Encanto had what 120, 150 budget and only made $256 million. That's not a runaway success. Moana had the same budget and made $656 million. That's not a runaway success either. Box office wise, Encanto tanked. It wasn't a sleeper
Right.
hit. It didn't
Well,
hit until
keep
they
in
hit
mind that
Disney
Encanto
Plus.
was released right during the Omicron wave that was scaring a lot of people when it came out. So there's a mitigating factor there.
Granted, there is that.
Because Omicron was taking people out left and right. That was no joke. I do want to mention, I watched Oppenheimer
I saw what he did with Autobots.
last week. I streamed it, and I think you all know by now I'm a pretty boring guy. I love watching old history documentaries. I watched a 4-hour documentary on the Plantagenets last week over Thanksgiving break. I'm very boring. I love boring stuff.
Whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
Wait, is that about like, I don't know, superheroes?
No, it's an English royal dynasty from many years ago. So I love boring media. I love watching boring stuff. Oppenheimer was boring. That movie was so boring. I turned it off.
Honestly, that's my fear of why I've avoided it.
That's how I know you're full of shit, because I'm not going to sit here and watch Florence Pugh get, railed and be like, this is a terrible movie. No, I'm going to be thankful and be happy and thank Warner Brothers, a legend, whoever put that out, and be like, thank you for this. Thank you so much
that
for
was
giving me the gift.
35, 40 seconds, whatever. This is a 3-hour movie. Once they dropped the bomb, I was like, okay.
It happened
Once
twice,
I was like, they dropped the bomb. Okay, I can't watch. It was so boring. It was so boring.
It carries on after they do the bomb. Oh,
for another hour.
That's insane, because I found it
Yes.
I found it enthralling.
I couldn't do it.
I don't know. That to me felt to me like Ready Player One, but for white actors. Like, just to see different white male actors pop up randomly, just to be like, oh my gosh, it's Josh Peck. Oh my gosh, it's the evil dude from Scott Pilgrim. Like, it was just like, yo, all your favorite white actors are here except for Tom Hanks. Jason Bourne showed up too.
It was boring. It was boring, and I am the king of boring. I love boring. This was boring. Boring. Granted, I didn't see it in IMAX in a big theater.
Talking about boring, can you give us a quick trip report about your latest cruise, please?
Oh my goodness gracious!
Yeah, let's get that out of the way.
We're running on time here. So I went on Adventure of the Seas. It's been a couple of months now, I think, October. So about a month or so ago, and I always give you the price of what I paid. So for myself, my son, my daughter, and Eric, for 7 nights, we went to Mexico, Belize, and the Bahamas. 2 stops in Mexico, Cozumel and Costa Maya. We paid $2,675. So I always tell you, if someone who is giving a trip report or review of a cruise does not tell you how much they spent on that cruise, they probably got it for free or at a reduced travel agent rate. So take what they say with a grain of salt. But that's how much we paid for Adventure of the Seas. Went out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Yeah. No. I love Fort Lauderdale. You don't like Fort Lauderdale?
Motherfucker comes right back here. Don't pay his debt. Don't just.
Well, I'm back. I'm back in a couple months too, because I'm taking another cruise in January to out of Fort Lauderdale now.
Let me call DeSantis. Let me make a deal with the devil to make sure your beige ass don't bring your fucking ass down here, goddamn, without paying what you fucking know. I'm tired.
This cruise seemed okay. Seemed like your normal cruise, but there were some issues that we had. One, the island I rave about constantly, and Derek Bergen did a big piece on Perfect Day at Coco Cay down in the Bahamas. They are increasingly turning this into an upcharge island. There is obviously a massive water theme park in the middle of this island that you had to pay for upwards of 200 to 300 bucks per person to go to the water park. Well, we're not doing that. But also, there were sections of a public beach that are now private beach space for club members and suite members only, or cabana members only. So it's kind of creeping in around you, like everything else nowadays, especially at Disney, of upcharges. The food was not good at all. I think last year I told you guys I loved the food on Royal Caribbean. The food this time was so mediocre. I lost 2 pounds
On the
the week
ship?
I was on the cruise. Yep. Yeah. Sorry. On the ship. Yeah. I lost 2 pounds.
Jeez.
So that could just be the ship. I'm hoping it's just the ship. Royal Caribbean just launched a new menu, or a dining menu. They do a dining program where they say it's to make it more efficient for diners. It's really making it cheaper for them to serve you food. A lot of cutbacks in quality, cutback in options. So that's never good. The one thing that they do, and I cannot stand it, and Disney does it too on their cruise ships, is whenever my kids are around, especially we have our young son with us, Lincoln, 6 months old, the workers always get in his face, and even if my kid is having a meltdown and crying, and I'm trying to whisk him off to a quiet area in the stroller or somewhere, it never fails. A crew member will come up and get in and say, "Oh, what's wrong? Why are you crying?" I have to get the fuck out of here. Go away. Leave us alone. Stop. When we were sitting in the buffet area and I'm trying to get my son to eat breakfast, with a baby, it's hard to do, to concentrate and focus. We got X amount of time where we got about the ship or do whatever. Eat this food, please. And a guy comes up behind us, one of the workers behind us, and is playing peekaboo with my son and has a rubber duck, keeps quacking. I'm like, dude, we're trying to eat. Go away. Go away. Stop. I don't need 24/7 stimulation from the crew. Please stop. Please go away. And Disney did that a lot too with Aria when she was little on the cruise ships. And it's such an annoying, let us have a vacation. If I need help, I will come find you. Or just stop. But they think that is customer service. They think that is good quality customer service. Always being in our face, always up our ass. And I just don't like it with little kids, because when they're having a meltdown or I'm trying to get them to eat and focus on eating, I don't need you playing peekaboo or whatever you're doing because you're bored. It's annoying.
You think that's why they're doing it, because they're bored?
Yeah, no, because they walk around the dining or the buffet area and they've cleaned tables once in a while. But for the most part, they're told it's called touching the guest. Not physically, but it's called touching tables, touching the guest. And they think that's customer service to them.
Yeah, they're looking for brownie points.
Yeah. And they come back to your table. How's the food? 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 Leave us alone. Go away. It's fine. Go away. Leave us alone. Let us eat. Shit. Get out of here. I mentioned this in one of our groups that when you walk into the buffet area on these Royal Caribbean ships and Carnival ships, there's a person standing in the front of each buffet. And it's their job to remind you to wash your hands before you go touch all the utensils in the food, right? And they have the hand washing stations there, great. But at Royal Caribbean, the worker has a Bluetooth speaker and they blast "Don't Believe Me, Just Watch" and, whatever these other stupid songs are. And they are forced to dance and shuffle and dance for 12 hours in a row. They dance at the front. And it's the most awkward, embarrassing, cringe thing you could imagine. This poor person who sits there for 12 hours and just shuffles. And by the end of the night, their battery is at 2%. They're so drained. They're so over it. But there's someone just keep dancing. And it's so weird. It's it's a weird vibe. I'm just trying to eat. I don't need you to get me hyped to eat. This is not a nightclub. I don't need someone dancing at the front of the buffet to get me excited about the food. Just let me eat. It's hard to explain, but if you see it, it's really weird. Our ports of call were fine. Belize was okay. Costa Maya is what it is. We've been there before. The real gem was Cozumel. We booked a private beach club called Nachi Kokum. I think I paid $80 a person for this. Amazing. Open bar, free lunch. We had a cabana, a little hut, a tiki hut right by the beach, hammocks, a pool with a hot tub. It was like a $16 cab ride from the cruise port to this private beach club up the island in Cozumel. Worth every penny. I paid double if I had to. One interesting thing though was that when we got there, we get to our little beach hut, and we get the waves are lapping at our feet, and it's nice and peaceful. And we got a palm tree above us, and we have drinks in our hands. The first time Eric and I do, and my daughter screams the loudest I've ever heard her scream in her life at our cabana. Just shrieks. I thought, oh my God, what happened? We looked down, and while she was getting up on her chair, she was bitten by a bullet ant.
Oh!
Well, I don't even know what that is.
And if you've never seen it, it's
like a big one?
It was huge. It was huge. Like, I looked at it with my bare eyes and saw its jaws. It was huge. And so we had just gotten to it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, and her feet were in the sand, And so I took the ant and flung it and buried it under 5 feet of sand. And my daughter was like, I'm not going back in the sand. I'm staying up here on my chair. I'm like, we're here all day. Like, it took me a while to force her to, once the pain went away, to let's go get in the pool. You got to walk on the sand because I'm not carrying you around all day. You got to stop crying. That's loud because we will be asked to leave because you're screaming at the top of your lungs. And she was in a lot of pain, but oh my gosh, it was like the worst thing you could possibly imagine. Like a 1 in a million chance. Massive ant bit her right on her toe, on the bottom of her toe. Yeah, it was awful.
Yeah, those are no joke. Aren't they? Do they say those are more painful than like? They say those are more painful than like some bee stings.
Yeah, she had a welt on the bottom of her toe. Yeah, it was not a fun way to start our peaceful day on the island. But she, about half an hour later, she was over it. She sat in the hammock and played on her tablet and stuff. And but it's called Nachi Kokum. If you're ever going to Cozumel on a cruise, pay the money, go to Nachi Kokum. Great. The staff was great. We tipped them very well on the way out because they took care of us. It wasn't too busy there. They limit how many people can come for the day. And I think there are maybe 20 of us at most on this island in this beach club. Had the beach to ourselves, the pool to ourselves. It was great. One other thing I'll mention is that the kids club, I told you all on our previous cruises, our daughter did not want to go in the kids club at all, wasn't having it. The second day of this cruise, my daughter looks at me and goes, Dad, I'm going to the kids club. I said, what? She goes, yeah, let's go. And I walked her upstairs and walked her to the entrance of the kids club, to the entrance. And she walked in, and I kind of stood there waiting for her to come running back out crying, and she never came back out. And so for a good half hour, I just sat at the exit of the kids club waiting for her to come back out, and she never did. And I was like, well, I guess I'll go find something to do because she's in there. And every day after that, she stayed in the kids club. When we went to Costa Maya, she didn't want to go on land. She stayed in the kids club that day. While Eric and I and the baby went to Costa Maya and shopped around and played a little bit in the pool. But she stayed in the kids club. So I think we're past that hump. It was a decent cruise overall. Our room, this ship shows a lot of age. It wasn't the cleanest room. It wasn't the best service because now instead of cleaning your room twice a day, they clean your room once a day on the cruise ship. And when it's just Eric and I, we don't need a twice a day cleaning in our room. When you have 2 kids with food and everything, that second cleaning a day does help. But Royal Caribbean has cut back on that now. It's just once a day. But they did increase gratuities each day. So you're paying $18 per person per day in gratuities.
That's nice.
That's not nice.
When would they clean the room the first time?
Usually it's in the morning. So when we would get up and go to breakfast or something like that, or if you're at a port, you get off and go to the island, they clean your room and you'd come back for a midday nap or whatever. We'd come back with the kids and have a nap and, have lunch maybe in the room. And then they would clean it while you were again at dinner.
All right.
So it's like turn downs, the equivalent to turn downs, is it?
Yeah. our hostess, our stateroom attendant, after a couple of days was like, hey, I'm just going to clean your room at night while you're at dinner. And I think we were okay with that. She'd be upset with us if we didn't like leave the room at a certain hour, like on a C day. Like, when are you going to go do something so I can come in there and clean? Like, well, we have a baby, so we got to come back and let him nap, or our daughter's tired, so we got to come back. Well, I got to clean your room. And it's like, well, I'm sorry, but we're not getting up our kids and leaving so you can come clean the room. Like, I realize you're in a pinch because you have X amount of rooms to clean, but we're not adjusting our vacation schedule around you with kids.
Yeah.
So she was a little pushy. She didn't want my daughter to sleep on the bunk bed because you got to be like 8 years or older to sleep on the bunk bed. And like we were like, she's sleeping up there. Don't worry about it. No. She's got to sleep on the bed or on the floor. We put her on the bunk bed. It didn't matter. So just some weird, quirky things. But we are never, ever, 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 ever cruising with 2 kids at once by ourselves again. Never happening ever. It was absolutely miserable.
Until they're older, right?
Yeah, when they're like teenagers. But we couldn't have any time alone. Because when Arya would go to the kids club, we still got the baby. And there was no babies and tots room or nursery on this ship. So Eric and I legit didn't have 1 second alone in an entire week. You were always on call.
Well, you got to hire the nanny and bring them along.
Yeah, we're bringing the grandparents next time. Well, it's funny because we got home. Eric and I had booked a 7-day cruise to Italy, in Spain and France for next June. And Tommy has been nice enough. He said he's going to take the train down to Spain and see us in Barcelona. Right, Tommy?
After the past few days, I'm pretty much persona non grata in Spain because of I dare to challenge the fact that Universal might not be buying Portaventura. So that's another conversation for another time.
But do you think it's going to be London?
I can't say a word. Sorry. I think I'll say what I've been saying, that I don't see the benefits of buying a theme park and then having to spend almost the same amount redoing it into a park that represents the kind of theme parks that you've been building the past few years, when you could just pick a greenfield site, whether that be in UK, whether that be in any European country that's got the will and the space to do it, and start afresh, when you could build basically Epic Universe in Europe from scratch and build it exactly how you want it, not how you're not how someone built something 20, 25 years ago. Times have moved on. For me, it makes sense to start fresh, and I think Universal know that. But we'll see.
Well, you come see us in Spain. We're sailing out of Barcelona. We're going to Rome. We're going to Florence. We're going to Catalan, I think, or some other island. We're going to Naples. So that's with no kids, by the way. We're not bringing the kids overseas with us.
I would visit you in Italy, but as I already said to you, why would I?
Motherfucker, if you're not paying what you owe.
Well, Jalen, I'm back in Florida in January. I have another quick cruise I'm taking with a friend, a 3-nighter out of Fort Lauderdale, just down to the Bahamas and back for a few nights.
Oh, you and Braden, y'all finally going together.
We are eloping.
Braden
and I are going to elope in the Bahamas, finally, at Atlantis.
All right.
And,
okay. All right. You flew the boy out. You flew the boy out.
What's his name is going to officiate?
He getting flew
What's
out.
his name is going to? Mickey Views is going to officiate the wedding. I forget his name. His arch nemesis.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
my god.
Braden is
my British friend.
Hey, look more.
Yeah, that one.
DSNY.
Have you ever seen?
Yes, that.
Have you ever seen Braden and Mickey Views at the same
So yeah,
time?
that was our 7-night cruise on Adventure of the Seas, and I mention this because, again, like I said earlier, lots of people, and I was asking people on the cruise ship, are taking their money out of theme parks vacations like Disney and spending them on cruising, and it's the industry itself is growing. It's breaking records every single quarter. They have so much money on deposit. Royal Caribbean and Carnival and Disney do. It's unseemly how much money is being moved from theme park vacations to cruise vacations.
And you know what?
Because there's so much more value there.
I was in the market to be returning back in like April and May next year to Florida, but after that amazing trip report, you've really sold it to me, Chris. I'm really going to book a Royal Caribbean cruise, and I'm probably going to find a couple of kids and, you know, maybe a boyfriend for the week to take with me, you know?
That makes it even better. It's all a matter of how you do it. You know, we would never take both of our kids to at this age to Disneyland across the country because we know we couldn't enjoy it that much. But it's a matter of how it is on the whole more relaxing than taking 2 kids under 5 to Disney World. I can tell you that right now. You know, and the food is better.
Yep, I can see
and
that.
the entertainment is there for you. There's a casino for me. There's always something to do. The one thing about this ship that I really bothered me was that you could not get food after like 11 p.m. The pizza shop would
What?
The pizza shop would close like 11:30 at night, and there was no more food unless you got room service, which was like $7 or $8. So you know I ain't doing that. So the bigger ships, it's not a problem.
No, son, like that should be 1
Yes.
PM
Yeah, I agree.
or 1
The bigger ships, it's not a problem. Even on Allure of the Seas,
insane.
that wasn't a problem on Allure of the Seas. There was a Ben & Jerry's on this ship, a little Ben & Jerry's counter attached to the Starbucks. And legit, I think I spent more on Ben & Jerry's ice cream than I did on alcohol on this cruise. Because it was like
Jesus
$3 or $4
Christ.
a scoop or whatever it was, or 2 scoops for $4. I was there all the time. Oh, we did Johnny Rockets in this ship, okay? We did Johnny Rockets.
Oh,
It was
God.
so bad. It was the
God.
exact same burgers and fries. They serve in the buffet, but we paid $15 a person for it.
That's a
It was an upcharge
scam.
restaurant.
That's
It was a scam. I thought, okay, we didn't do it last
But they
time
have
we were
a-
on the ship. And
They
so I
have
thought, we'll do it
milkshakes?
now. Yeah, we had a milkshake. Yeah, the milkshakes were okay. But again, I could have gone down to Ben & Jerry's and got a milkshake just fine. And it was Ben & Jerry's ice cream. So don't do Johnny Rockets in these ships. It's the exact same burgers and fries they serve in the buffet, but these are $15 a person for burgers and fries. Total ripoff. Total rip-off. We didn't do any other specialty or upcharge dining. We don't do that. We may next time because the food in the main dining room is getting worse because they're trying to drive you to do the upcharge restaurants. It's a Disney trick they're learning, you know, of we'll dumb this down so you go to the steakhouse or you go to the Italian restaurant and pay $20 a person for that instead. So it's really heinous. And there are some of us out there who are seeing Royal Caribbean, at least, make the same moves that Disney made 10 years ago with the cutting corners, raising prices. And I'm like, oh, God, here we go again. Here it comes.
They set the standard.
Yeah. I mean,
They're gonna introduce
fast.
Fast Pass on the ship somehow.
Oh,
Lightning
Jesus
well,
fucking Christ.
We're seeing this with new ships. Like, usually on a ship, you can go, on this ship you can go forward and stand at the front of the ship, you know, and see the ocean in front of you. Now, Disney especially is monetizing that part of the ship. Those are all suites now. You can't go to the front of the ship anymore and do that Titanic moment. You can't see the water from the front of the ship anymore unless you're in a suite or unless you're in a club
Really?
lounge, you know, a suite lounge. Then you can do it.
That's
So
some
newer
BS.
ships, they're taking that element away. They're taking more and more deck space away to add more suites and more, you know, club level stuff. So they're starting at nickel and diming. They're starting at upcharge thing. So it's really disappointing. Right now, it's still affordable for our family. It's still worth it for our family at least. So we'll keep doing it. But it's just disheartening. Like everything you love just eventually gets willed away. You know, you find something new and it's great for a couple years, and then it starts to be nickel and dime.
To be fair, none of your cruise trip reports have ever appealed to me and made me think, oh yeah, I really want to do that. And that's not your storytelling. I just don't. They've never appealed to me, so I can't believe it's getting worse because it didn't sound great in the beginning. To be fair.
Well, and that's the big part about with Royal Caribbean, at least I've talked to them, is that they know that a certain amount of people just will never cruise, but they think they haven't even tapped into like 50 or 60% of the market of the vacation market yet have not taken a cruise. who would possibly take a cruise. That's huge potential. And that's why they keep building these massive, massive ships, one on top of the other, because they know there are still so many people out there who would cruise.
No, I'm not feeling it.
I mean, personally, it's not my thing, but I can definitely
I've never
see
done
how
I offered to take you on a cruise last year, Jay. I offered last year. I said, Jay, you want to go on a cruise with me? You're like, oh, I got something to do. I'm sorry, I can't make it. I've offered to take you.
Wasn't it that 3-year
I don't
cruise?
want no-
Wasn't it that permanent 3-year
I don't
cruise
like
that you offered to
water.
take him on?
Yeah, the residents.
Oh God!
Didn't you tell him he had to sell all his
Didn't that just
possessions
get canceled?
first?
That got canceled.
I don't like the ocean either.
That
but
just got canceled, didn't it?
I'd still go on a cruise. I don't like the ocean.
I don't fuck with the ocean.
Listen, I was that
I am
guy.
a
I
land
thought
baby.
you were never going to find me spending a day on a beach, relax. I want a tour. I want to see historical sites. I can't sit still. I'm too hyper for that. I get seasick. I'm not doing a cruise. I did one, and I got hooked. And I talked to so many people who just do one, and they go, I mean, the second you walk on that ship, I'm telling you, it changes. The second you step foot on that ship, especially with Disney, when they announce your name and you're in that big old atrium and someone puts a drink in your hand when you walk on the ship, woo, game over. And there's food. There's always food around, and it's free, and you guys go eat whenever you want to eat.
Yeah, but there's no
Ooh,
video
I'm telling you.
games.
There's casinos.
Tons of
There's
diarrhea
casinos.
whenever you need it.
Why would I do that when I could go
Yeah,
on
a lot of people-
a 2-night
A lot of
land-based
people got
cruise in a
COVID last
windowless
week
prison?
who didn't step foot on a ship.
If they put up a sports book on a ship, I'm there.
Some of them have them.
Oh.
I'd rather go to like a regular spa resort. Like I would rather do a spa resort. I would rather go to some place different and do like next year when I go to Japan, I'm doing the whole entire day. in a
Yeah,
spa
we
in the
do
mountains.
those too.
Like I would rather
We go
do
to-
that
Yeah, but then you
Dominican.
gotta leave the property if you want to go other places. With a cruise ship, it comes with you. Your room comes with
Right.
you.
The cruise ship, motherfucker. If you walk outside, you
But
hit
the
the water.
appeal-
Like,
no.
I'd rather
The
be
appeal of
on
a cruise
Earth.
is that
Yeah.
you wake up every day in a different place. Like next year, we're going to wake up one day in Naples. We're going to wake up the next day in Rome. We're going to wake up the next day in Florence, in Civitavecchio. Like that's the appeal of a cruise, is that you're getting the food.
When you gonna wake up one day and pay
I'm
what you
trying
owe?
to, but they just don't. You get some availability for Victoria and Albert's, and we can do this, but it's no availability. I'm trying. I'm sorry.
You know they don't.
This is the biggest. You so full of shit, your eyes, bro.
You know they eat lunch at like 11 a.m. over there in Europe,
Oh yeah.
and they eat dinner at like
I'm
dinner
gonna
at
tell
like
you that
8
right
p.m.
now,
Well, no, lunch is 2 hours. This lunch is 2 hours in a siesta.
I eat
Ryan.
dinner at 10:30 p.m. Right.
Ryan, I'm surprised. You're talking about they eat.
It is what it is.
Is that before or after
Huh?
tea time?
Breakfast is at like 6 a.m.
Like, that's just public school, baby. I got kids who eat. I know kids who go to like who eat lunch at 10:30. That's like public school time. It's nothing different, at least not to me. It's way too early.
No, that's my daughter's
But
school.
it is what
Her
it is.
class has lunch at 10:30 in the morning. Lunch.
Yeah, no, motherfucker. That's when brunch
Yeah.
starts.
All right, so that's that. Anything else we have? What else do we have? Did we miss out on? We're running up big on time here. We're close to 2 hours now.
You're gonna finally let Ryan do a trip.
We'll get to
report,
Ryan's trip
or-
report next time because he has a lot to talk about.
Oh
We'll do
my
Ryan's
god!
next time.
And baby Jesus, it's a running gag.
What else did we forget?
Damn
What
it.
other big stuff did we forget?
I guess. Do you want to talk? I'm trying to think. Is there anything else that happened? Anything
They're
Universal
building a
big
theme
happened?
park and it's nearly done.
Anything that Universal
I feel like we
dropped?
say that every episode, but
Anything? Okay,
Soft open is tomorrow.
No, I'm trying to think. No,
honestly. So
Disney
anyway,
definitely
going back
hasn't
to
done
the whole
anything,
rumor
so-
about whether they're buying Ventura or whether there's a UK park. What is interesting, if they do build one in the UK, we will literally get all of the plans before they even greenlight it, before they even get planning permission. Because in UK you have to submit
public.
all your plans. Yeah, it's all public knowledge before and then they go through like a public consultation period. So it will completely change how we normally view stuff. It will be more like the Disney kind of way, but we'll have like a basic plan or something, or no more than basic plans, for a whole entire theme park before it even gets an okay. But let's be honest, right? Say you're a country, whatever country that may be, and a major international company that have already got one of their biggest businesses, like in the UK, Sky is a massive, massive, massive telecom company that is just one faction of Comcast's business. Yeah. So a big company with massive deep pockets rocks up to you and says, "Hey, Chris, I'm gonna spend £2-3 billion on building a one of a kind theme park resort that won't be like anything else you've got in the country. Can you help us make this happen?" What do you say? Whatever government, whatever your politics, what do you say when someone's proposing to spend that amount of money?
I can't. I know I get it, but I wouldn't. I'm sorry.
You wouldn't what?
I wouldn't spend it.
I'm not asking if you would spend it. I'm asking if you would grant, if you were the receiving end of a big investment, of multi-billion-pound investment, that you would do everything in your power as a government to make that happen.
Oh, so I'm a believer in open zoning. Build everything everywhere. I don't care. Yes. Jobs, jobs, jobs. Build, build, build. Density, density, density. Yes.
Yeah, just do what the Saudis do. Build everything everywhere and go up if you have to.
Well, the thing is, where they went wrong, with like people, there's two things with like the whole inverted commas UK Disneyland bullshit. They wanted to try and build it on anything east of the Thames Barrier. So basically, the edge, the outer fringe of Greater London. Anything east is basically estuary. So you're asking for a whole world of trouble if you try and build something there in an estuary or nature reserve, and that's what they decided to do. Plus, on top of the fact that it was really shady where the money was coming from. It seemed like they were putting all these concept art so they could actually get the investors. I don't think they had the money there. That's a bit different to Comcast, but all they've got to do, and there's literal millions of acres of open space in this country. All they've got to do is pick a place on a map that's near a main road, maybe near a train line, maybe a town that's looking for new jobs for its people, and they could pretty much get what they want.
Put it in Wakefield, right in the middle.
Well, yeah, that's one possibility. Why not? And in all seriousness, I would put it somewhere in that kind of middle of the country, so that anything around Birmingham. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but we'll talk about it more if it happens, I guess.
I mean,
but
I would think that they would look at where are the centers of population and where are the tourism centers. So you look at Sheffield, Liverpool, London, and of course, Birmingham's right in the middle. So if there is good mass transit, the way people can easily get to Marne-la-Vallée from Paris for Disneyland, if there's good mass transit within a good hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, that's where you put it. It took us an hour to get to Disneyland Paris from Paris itself on the train. So, kind of a low barrier entry, low friction.
I wouldn't put it very close to London. I would put it just outside London, because when you start getting up to Wakefield, when you do start getting to places like Wakefield and the north, etc., the weather is very different. And even this summer when the weather should have been good, I was in shorts and t-shirt in London, and then I got to Sheffield and I needed a rain jacket and 2 extra layers. Like, it is noticeably different. But anybody that uses this, well, it always rains in England, blah blah blah.
No,
that's not true. And last time I saw you in London, I don't think you had a bad day of weather, did you?
I think it rained once for like a couple hours, and we got caught in the rain, but it wasn't a huge deal. I've been to London 3 times, and I haven't seen more than 2 days of rain. And I've been, all around London itself, and I know way too much about English geography mostly because I'm a football fan, Premier League fan, so I know where all the cities are. So, yeah, you put it somewhere like Birmingham or Northampton or something like that, where there's already infrastructure built.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that would make Universal cautious, but it's more stable in London or in England than anywhere else in the UK, is that, governments tend to change radically over there really fast. Spain's going through a bit of a crisis right now with their government. Italy is very close to having a fascist government in itself. So, oh yeah,
Again,
not close to Mussolini, but they took a hard right turn. Black people are not welcome in Italy. Africans, black people, it is not a very friendly place from what I've been reading.
And honestly, it sounds like it's going that way in Holland. One of the certainly in the whole time I was growing up, one of the most moderate liberal countries in Europe is now got a far right fascist prime minister. So that's insane. But what I would say is, if I was Comcast, I would probably wait just a little bit longer until the spring and find out what happens with our election, because at the moment,
this is
we're on
Tommy.
fixed
Explain
term.
this to people. When was your last election?
Like 2 weeks ago, I think. But we could get an election any minute now, and if we do actually
snap
elect
election,
like a real professional, like actual set of politicians that know what they're doing, then in theory that should last 5 years. So which means the next election, i.e. not a bunch of Tory clowns, but in theory 5 years. So if I was a major company like Comcast, I would probably just I would do what I need to do, buy the land, etc., and then I would just wait and see. But that said, there's other countries that equally could be under the same level of scrutiny. Maybe they've bought land in other places. Maybe they've bought land in the UK. Who knows? But at the end of the day, I don't think we should do what they've been doing on Twitter, which is quite well-known UC manager tweeting about something to do with patents and just 2 and 2 makes 15, because that's what they did yesterday. They saw one tweet that was about nothing to do with theme parks in Spain and decided that this guy was going to get himself fired to tweet on Twitter about it. So
yeah. Okay, we got to wrap it up. Jalen, where can we find you online?
Y'all can find me on Twitter at TCJalen. You can find me at Instagram on Tomaro's Child. And yeah.
And you can find him at Jollywood Nights in a couple of nights, right?
I mean, don't be
Go look
pulling
for
up on
Jalen.
me randomly. Just, don't do what Chris did that one time at Disney Springs. Just start calling out a motherfucker's name and expect me to turn around, because I'm not. DM me beforehand. DM me beforehand.
nearly. I'm not sure we complete this, but I'm glad you.
Ryan, where can we find you online?
At this point,
I am at Imagineer6 on Twitter.
Tommy, where can we find you online?
You can find me at Tommy Hawkins, or literally anywhere but Spain, ever.
Jesus Christ. Not a fan of the Paldan region, huh?
And you can find me everywhere at Wakeful Report. I'll post a longer thread, I think, on twitter.com of my Adventure of the Seas experience. And then I'm on Liberty of the Seas here in a couple of months. And then a few months after that, I'll be on Oasis of the Seas, a really, really, really big ship on Oasis. So that's all we have for this week's show. We'll see you all next time.